to the Lagos Youth Show here on Lagos Television. And we come here weekly to actually talk to you about things concerning the youth from every part of the state. Things you should know. Things that will help you, improve you, entertain you, and make you a better person, as well as myself. My name is Oluwatosi Olajide. Okay, so today, as usual, our conversation will cut across what every person should know. It's not just for female or for male, it's for what everybody should know and should understand. Don't worry, when our guests come in, we'll have the conversation proper. And when I said it the other time, I said it's for everybody. As far as your youth, yes, this program is for you. This conversation is for you. As far as your youth and your youth at heart, you get it? So the conversation is for you, for every youth across the state, every youth across Lagos State, from every division, from Ikorodu to Badagry to Ikeja, to Ekpe to Lagos Island. Every youth needs to be here. So if you know somebody, call the person, tell the person that Lagos Youth Show, the program, is about to kick off. Let's go on this quick break. We'll be right back. If you're just watching, it's still the Lagos Youth Show, and hope someone called you because I told your friend to call you. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so the conversation today is about, we're talking consent or confusion in Lagos. So when you hear consent, it means taking permission, right? Yeah, so that's what we're talking about today. And our conversation is, I'm looking at, should I hint it? All right. So, in the Lagos that we are today, in the city that we are today, we have interactions among young people. We have young people have conversations, and most of these conversations are what is shaping the young youth of today. It's changing norms, the conversations is changing norms. This topic, now the conversation we're having today, is going to explore the fine line, the thin line, the fine line between consent and misunderstanding. Highlighting how unclear boundaries, peer pressure, social media can blow expectations in relationship. Okay, it aims to promote awareness, respect, and clear communication as essential tools. When I said it the other time, I said consent. Consent is, maybe taking permission, that's my own, that's what I feel, But we have guests in the studio with us. We have two beautiful young people who we would have the conversation with, who are going to take us through their opinion on the topic for today. And our guest for today, my immediate right, yes, I got the English. My immediate right is Ayodara Mola. Is a social commentator. You're welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, so beside him is Omolafe Dabo, and she is a learning and development specialist. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so today, let's go into the conversation properly. All right, so our conversation, like I said earlier, our topic today is consent or confusion, understanding boundaries. And on this program, what we preach more is about the youths of Lagos. We are in Lagos. Every youth in Lagos needs to be aware of things going on around them. All right, so we'll be having the conversation concerning, making a Lagos youth a point of contact. All right, so today, I would like to ask, let me start from you, Ayo. Okay. I'd like to, know what exactly is consent in this time that we are in now.
Now, consent for me is acknowledgement, is gaining having the feedback or the end result of a two-way communication.
Okay.
Now you have to, in the idea of consent, you have to talk to somebody. Now you have to ask the person, and then the person also has to give you a feedback on on what you have talked to the person about.
Okay.
So that's what I think is to make it simple, in that way is what I think consent is all about.
Okay, so let me narrow it down to consent in relationships.
Yeah.
Consent maybe between a man and a woman, a woman and a man and a woman, yeah. A man and a woman. It could be friendship,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
It could be relationship, like romantic relationship
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
let me narrow it down to that. What you find is that, but in relationship,
Yeah.
where do we feel like, okay, this is exactly what is meant to be done?
All right. Well, in friendship, in relationships, and all, it's still human beings, two human beings that are dealing with themselves. So some people will tell you that these are my boundaries. These are my do's and these are my don'ts and all that. So in the area of trying to make people like conform to whatever you want them to do, part time, you must be able to ask for their permission on that, because you're relating with the person because the person is a human being, not because the person is, the person doesn't have, the person is a human being just like you. So now for every human being, you have to actually, talk to them to gain access to whatever they have. So removing the fact that you're in a relationship with that person is still a human being, and every sane society, expects that people have conversations with themselves. So, of course, if you're a sane human being, you want to ask your other counterpart for,
Actually, I concur to that, because even
Yeah.
if you're switching on a system or working on a system, you
Yeah.
have to, it will bring a prompt for you.
Absolutely.
Click OK or cancel.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I'd like to ask you, what is the major or the main misconception about consent these days? When we call there are a lot of misconception about consent and all that. What do you think is the main misconception?
Okay, I think the okay, I'm actually trying to think how I should frame this.
Frame it anyhow.
Okay, so I think the misconception can be bettered from not actually giving consent, like miscommunication, confusion. So
Confusion.
yes, so every individual has set boundaries and personal limits, and if you're not, as the second person, if you're not confirming what the boundary of this person is, probably you are exceeding the probably the lines are blurred, and also that could result in it. Then also culture can influence that as well. Like you said, in Lagos, so Lagos is a very populated city where there are different people from different backgrounds,
Yeah.
from different states, different belief, different culture, and all. So everyone have their different belief system, their values, their principles, and what goes well with you might actually not go well with the other. So that can actually bring about that confusion and that miscommunication. So that's the reason why you actually need to confirm if this person is comfortable and if this is acceptable with the person before you know if you want to proceed further
With the friendship
or not.
relationship.
Yes.
Okay. Now we are in the era of social media, and both this question is for both of you, and I want both of you to give me your opinion about it.
Okay.
When we talk about social media, how has social media, affected? Is there any way social media has affected consent? Maybe the way people see it, the way people view it. Let me start with you.
Social media is, like you said, from the literal meaning, social. Social interactions and all that. So, social media is about agenda, and sometimes it is not the real world. So, it is important that some people just some people raise controversies, just to be able for traction for
Okay.
traction
To
purposes.
trend.
Yes, for traction purposes. So it is important that the young person today is very careful. And the only challenge we have with social media is that we have a society that is still feeble, not knowing what is good and what is bad,
Bad. Yeah.
and not knowing, not understanding precedence. In terms of what I mean is not understanding the historical or the issues that have emanated from the past due to all those kind of conversations, outside the social spaces. So it has also affected the idea of consenting and all that, because culturally, people have domesticated way of life, that they live, that is acceptable. I'll give you an example. I was somewhere in the North Central, and somewhere quite during my service here, and there was a time that we had a conversation in one very interesting area. I really loved the area though, and because of their food, but it was said to me that, oh, these people would give out their own wives to you, even as a visitor, like you visit, they would give out their wives to
I
you.
think I kind of heard something like that, but I don't know how true that is though.
Yeah. So now this is an historical precedence, of a cultural expression, right? So is this what the people are ready to change? We don't know. Why are they doing it? We do not know.
Yeah.
But sometimes you find these kind of issues on social media, and people begin to give their own inferences without actually, picking it from the source, which is the people themselves, or the custodians of the culture themselves. So social media, what social media does in that context is, you make it look like an agenda. People begin to argue left, right, and center, but these things have not changed in where they are. It has not changed, or it is yet evolving, in those areas. So it's very important to know that social media, amplifies a whole lot of
Yeah.
agenda.
Okay, so I remember
Yeah.
over last weekend
Yeah.
there was this Ozoro something that actually I've not really gone through because I just saw it and I just glanced because I wasn't really interested. But maybe I'll have to go back because I think it's more like what you talked about now, because from what I heard, even celebrities are actually talking against it now. From what I heard they were like maybe it's a norm, like in that
area.
part of the country, like
area.
so once they see women, as
Okay.
far as you didn't come, you are out during the festival, then I don't know how true that is.
Maybe
but I'll
I
have to
can
go and-
maybe I can chip in, because while I was coming in, I read something about it. So I think
Okay.
the police commissioner in that particular zone, is actually reporting at the moment that nobody, not even the girls, have actually come up to say that they were raped.
Maybe they
Now,
feel like it's a
Edafe is the police commissioner there at the moment. So he said, I think is it the police commissioner? I think
The
the
PRO.
PRO, yeah.
it's the
So, and then he said that nobody has actually come up. So simply meaning that some of these things, to those people in that community, it might be, their way of doing things. So you understand? Now, I'm only ashamed at the fact that people would come to, for instance, I read where some people came to Lagos State House of Assembly to come and protest on what is actually happening.
in another state.
Yeah, so the Nigerian Constitution does not in any way give any state to interfere in the domestic
another
affairs of another state.
Of course.
You understand? But I can understand the advocacy.
Yeah.
Because it's where people, we talk about the pressure group societies and all that. This is what they fight for. This is what they live for.
Yeah.
You understand?
We know that social media has a way of, affecting or a way of influencing the people. It has a way of one way or the other. There are some things you don't do normally, and probably when you see it, coming up, you just find yourself doing it. Okay, maybe songs now. There are some songs you don't listen to. But now when you enter TikTok, you hear the song first, second time, third time, it just keeps popping up. I'm just citing that as an example. It just keeps popping up, but before you know it, you start, probably you're in the bedroom, the song will just, pop up, and it's just one way or the other, you're being influenced by it. How do you think social media, it talked about how it is, but how do you think social media actually you know, will help. Now, social media has a way of, getting you to do something, but there are ways social media can actually help, to help change the narrative.
Social media and dating trends actually have a way of influencing people and also youth as well. And also the same way we can also use social media in also changing the narrative. And but one thing I would want to say is the adult mind is already well matured and might be very difficult to influence, except they want to be influenced. So we might need a different kind of approach in trying to create awareness in actually influencing their mind to understand that consent is very important.
Okay, let me cut you. Okay, now we have the adult, we have lots of adults, but we have a lot of young people, like young now on the social media space.
Yes,
so
exactly.
How do we do that?
Yes, it's still raising the awareness actually, and I might not be able to say the different means of raising awareness, but it's something that can still be done through different social media, probably some initiatives and maybe some NGOs that can promote it, and to make people understand that even though some, just like I mentioned earlier about Lagos actually being a space where different people with different belief system can come in. Okay, let me use this instance of tickling. So a guy can tickle a lady and it's normal, it's not a big deal. But there are some ladies that won't like something like tickling. And also there's this, probably the lady might react in a way that disapprove of actually not entertaining such, but might not be able to verbalize, because imagine verbalizing it that, no, I don't like you tickling me. You could get response that, what's big deal? You get. So there are some things like that you've actually crossed that limit. You've crossed that boundary with someone else. And if it is not checked, even though you're not going to verbalize like you're consenting or you're not consenting, the person is already harassing or abusing you in that way. So it's also making people to understand the different kind of areas that this consent might come in. So it doesn't only apply to the sexual, like the real sexual intimacy parts. It could be emotional, it could be psychological. Okay. So bringing the awareness to people's understanding that it exceeds rape, it exceeds the sexual parts alone. It could be as subtle as just tickling. It could be as subtle as smacking the person's bum. It could be as subtle as telling the person you look sexy. And probably you telling a lady she looks sexy and she's already thinking that, hope my cleavage is not too exposed, hope I'm not wearing something too short, hope my breast is not open,
okay,
and
so
things like that.
Okay, now I actually wanted to wait before we get to that part of the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Now, looking at what you mentioned now, looking at how a man will commend a woman's beauty, oh, you look good, and the lady is already looking, oh, you look sexy, and the lady is like, okay, am I okay? Am I, like, hope my cleavage is just showing, hope my dress is not too short, hope my bra, the hand of my bra is not showing, all those things. Yes. As a lady. Now, where do we then, differentiate or talk about consent in relationships or in friendships? Now, what I'm trying to say is we have in relationships now, in friendship. Now, okay, so I don't want to say this, so it's not kind of, I think I'm guilty of one of it anyways. I have a friend that I just enjoy it. It's nothing. I just enjoy tickling him because there's this way he reacts and it's so funny to me. And he has not in any way probably say, stop it, I don't like it. Or react in a way that will make me stop it. In fact, anytime I do it, we just, just play around and the likes. Now, when it comes to friendship, how do one communicate here? I think that's where I'm coming from. How do one communicate, okay, this is my boundary. Some people, like you said earlier, some people don't know how to talk about, how to say, I don't like this because of what the other person will say. Or well, because so the person will say, just tickling, yeah, what's wrong with this one? But which we know tickling actually, trigger some people sexually. Some they don't feel it. Someone like me now, when someone tickle me, they'll be like, your battery don't die. He's dead. You understand? So, but some people, when you touch them, oh no, you've done something bad to them. So how do one communicate this to the opposite sex or to a friend or to a partner? No, I don't want this, and that is my no. How do one do this?
Okay, I think it's still connected to the raising awareness. So like promoting awareness on social media, listing the different kind of consents, the different kind of boundaries or personal limits that people might have, and also encouraging people to speak up. Because it also happens with rape, where people won't be able to speak up. It's not only the ladies that get raped or sexually abused. And even is now, I think also related to the culture thing, where the men also, they just believe that the men enjoy it. So why should they complain if they are sexually abused? So also using the platform, the social media platform, to encourage speaking up and not feeling ashamed because other people might feel, because that's their belief, that's their principle, that's what they feel like. Just like I mentioned, different people from different culture, points of view, perspective. So they might feel that this works with me, so why should it not work with other person? So you might be in the position of having to get consent from the second party, and you might be in the position of you being the one to give the consent. So always put yourself in those two positions. If something is comfortable with you and you feel like, oh, it might not be comfortable, ask. So it should be encouraged as well, and someone should not be shamed to being asked or to giving consent. So I should be able to say I'm not comfortable with it, and you should also appreciate it. Then it also leads to probably when you're not comfortable with something, you might just want to give this energy, this reaction. You've not stated it. So consent is about actually verbalizing.
Opening your
yes,
mouth.
you need to say that yes. You need to say that no. If you're not saying it, that's a missed signal. I wouldn't want to base it on assumption. So it's going to be assumption. You need to be clear about it. And those are the ways in which you use the social media to change those narratives and to make people understand that as well.
What's your take? I know she has said her opinion here. I want to hear yours.
Well, that is what it is, you know. But I think I have another take, because the social media is also a very interesting space, you know, in the sense that we have a lot of influencers, you know, we have a lot of skits, people who create skits, people who, you know, are popular with their streaming platforms and all that, you know. All those kind of people can be used to begin to shape the narrative.
Omolafe Dabo and Ayo Daramola, thank you for being on the show. I actually wish we could have, the conversation, but then time is not on our side. Okay. Thank you very much for coming around. I hope you had a nice time on our show.
Yes, I did, and thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, it's still the Lagos Youth Show. We'll be right. Lagos Youth Show. If you're just joining us, you missed. Yes, you missed. But don't worry. Just go on our social media platform to see the conversation. Watch it. We had two beautiful people on the program today. And I know those of you that watched it, you saw it, Abby. So those of you that just coming in, you didn't miss too much. Just go to our social media. Go to our Instagram. Yes, on our Instagram page. On our YouTube, you get it there. Lagos Television on YouTube. You'll see it. Once you get there, you'll see the program. You see the conversation today. We talked about consent or confusion. Yeah, you know what consent means. You know confusion now. How to differentiate between the two. And our guests today were Omolafe Dabo and Ayo Daramola on the show today. And let me officially appreciate every one of you that stayed glued to us. Now, Lagos Youth Show will be a year next month. Woo! Let me say that in advance. Yeah, yeah. So we'll be a year next month. In advance, don't worry. Next, when we come next week, we would appreciate it. But then let me do that now. We appreciate you for staying by us. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you very much for staying glued, waiting to watch us every week. Thank you very much. Don't worry. Next time, myself and Tosi will appreciate you very, 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 very well. All right. And that's a wrap today, this week, on the Lagos Youth Show. Till I come your way, some other time, till I come your way next week, I am Oluwatosi Olajide. See ya.